So the final tool in getting your photo exposed correctly and getting in focus is your light meter. And this is actually a really great tool that a lot of film cameras, 35 millimeter film cameras, would use because it's a way of letting you know when is your photo exposed correctly. And you can do this without ever taking a photo even, because back in the day of film, you didn't want to take 10 test shots. You could only take that one shot. And the light meter was a very important tool to make sure that you're exposed. Some cameras, you look at the light meter from the top here, and there'll be a middle mark and then a +1, +2, +3 to the right, and then a -1, -2, -3 to the left. Other cameras, you have to look through the viewfinder to see that, and some you can actually see on this back screen here. So the way that the light meter works is that it's basically telling you how overexposed or how underexposed your image is. And simply by looking at it, you can know, oh, I need to make my shutter speed a little bit faster, or I need to open up my f-stop. So as you go to take a photo, you can sort of click the prep button and it'll show you actually underneath where is your image right now. Is it overexposed? Is it underexposed? And without even looking through the viewfinder, I can tell I'm currently too overexposed, which means it's two f-stops overexposed. So if I go and stop down, I'm now exposed. And that's all without even looking into it. So now I go and take a photo and it's nicely exposed. So although the light meter will tell you when your image is in the middle, when it's properly exposed, that's not to say that sometimes you don't want it to be overexposed or underexposed. Sometimes when taking a photo of a landscape, you'll have some buildings or something that's really deep in the shadows, and it might be telling you it's underexposed or that's too bright, but then you go and take the photo and your sky looks great, but there's other areas in the image that are really dark. And that's not a bad thing. That's sort of your creative choice. But ultimately, I would, go and test. See what it looks like when it's right in the middle. Maybe overexpose it. See what that looks like. Try underexposing. It's a really useful tool, and as you get to know your camera better, you'll be able to know, oh, well, I'm taking a picture of a tree. I want it to be a little overexposed because I know those shadows are going to get a little too dark for me. So now that you've learned what a light meter is, I would say that you should go out and practice. Take a picture where you're -2 in your exposure. Take a picture where you're -1 in your picture. Take one where you're +3 in your picture, and see how those images differ. Now, you might see that, oh, well, when it's +3, my camera can't handle it, and it's a completely wide image. Or you might see that, oh, +3 actually gives a really cool effect, and I really like that look. And that way you know the next time you're in a scenario where you're shooting and you're like, oh, it's at +2, well, maybe I'll make it even a little bit brighter, and you go and take that shot and it comes out looking great. Again, when shooting digital, test, test, test. But when shooting film, the light meter will become your best friend on knowing whether or not your image is exposed and whether or not you should take that photo.